हेलो दोस्तों, स्वागत है आप सभी का हमारे चैनल लिविंग सेंटर पर। तो दोस्तों, हमारे एक ऑडियंस के द्वारा MEG06 के सॉल्व असाइनमेंट की रिक्वेस्ट आई थी। तो हम आपको MEG06 की जो क्वेश्चंस है उस पर आज असेसमेंट कराने जा रहे हैं। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप हमारे चैनल के साथ नए जुड़े हैं तो ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिएगा। और ये असेसमेंट जुलाई 2022 और जनवरी 2023 सेशन के लिए हेल्पफुल रहेगा। और ये MEG06 अमेरिकन लिटरेचर का असेसमेंट रहेगा। दोस्तों, आपका जो क्वेश्चंस दिया गया है इग्नू की तरफ से वो हम एक बार पढ़ लें। तो आपका ये क्वेश्चंस है और आपको हर एक क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स देने होंगे इस पर। तो पहला क्वेश्चन है एनालाइज डेथ ऑफ अ सेल्समैन एज अ रियलिस्टिक ट्रेजेडी। दूसरा क्वेश्चन है राइट अ क्रिटिकल नोट ऑन द ड्रामेटिक फॉर्म इन 20th सेंचुरी। और तीसरा क्वेश्चन है डिस्कस द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द रिवोल्यूशनरी प्रोज इन अमेरिका। तो दोस्तों, आज हम इतना ही क्वेश्चंस करेंगे और बाद में हम आपको पार्ट 2 पर और दूसरा क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस कर लेंगे। अगर ये वीडियो लंबा हुआ तो हम बस क्वेश्चन 1 और क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 डील करेंगे। तो दोस्तों, चलते हैं हमारे सॉल्व असाइनमेंट की तरफ। तो ये हमारा सॉल्व असाइनमेंट है और आप यहाँ पर क्वेश्चंस जो है वो मैच कर सकते हैं। एनालाइज डेथ ऑफ अ सेल्समैन एज अ रियलिस्टिक ट्रेजेडी, राइट अ क्रिटिकल नोट ऑन द ड्रामेटिक फॉर्म इन द 20th सेंचुरी, डिस्कस द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ रिवोल्यूशनरी पोस्ट इन अमेरिका। सो फ्रेंड्स, हम आपको 1 बाय 1 क्वेश्चंस के जो आंसर्स है वो रीड करके सुनाएंगे। तो आप अपना नोट्स ज़रूर बना लीजिएगा। तो चलते हैं हम हमारे आंसर्स की तरफ। तो आपका यहाँ पर क्वेश्चन था एनालाइज डेथ ऑफ अ सेल्समैन एज अ रियलिस्टिक ट्रेजेडी, और इसका आंसर रहेगा द ट्रेजेडी ऑफ डेथ ऑफ अ सेल्समैन एमर्ज partly from the audience critic recognition that the myth cherished by Loman hold no more good in mid-20th century America. In its totality of audience response, critical as well as emphatic, Death of a Salesman generates powerful tragic feeling and sorrow. It is a realistic tragedy, unlike that of the Greek and the Elizabethans. It perfects the realistic tragedy that began with Eugenie O'Neill. It appeared more like a culture appraisal of the society. It was assessing the salesman stand for the burden of the aspiration and possibly much more for the price one has to pay for the failure of the aspiration. It was the time when the American environment was characteristically of American aspiration, convention, individualism, struggle and achievement through honestly enterprise and hard work. Family acquired a primacy and it was a major preoccupation both culturally and economically, and more significantly, a forceful determinant of the individual social economical goal. In its basic premise, the American dream, a popular culture idea in the family as well as the society, goes back to the early Puritan settlers who considered themselves as God emissaries on a mission into the wilderness. It was Eugenie O'Neill who professed that the cost of successful capitalism and materialism would be tragedy and to American tragedy. Clifford Odets drew a dismal picture of the American family and the capitalist economy. Perhaps even more important aspect of the new changes was the Darwinian emphasis on environment as a shape force in life. The implication of such a determinist view was the formulation of a concept of a social play and the problem such as a social play presents for a notion of tragedy. In his introduction to collected plays, Miller set out to explain the idea that went into the making of The Death of a Salesman. He claims he did not set out to write a tragedy, but to show the truth as he saw it. He meant the play was less a play than a fact. Miller's belief that modern drama can explore just as profoundly the theme and issues that Marlowe or Shakespeare could, but with the added punch of doing so through the lips of ordinary people. So फ्रेंड्स, हम एक बार आपसे कहना चाहेंगे कि हमारा जो दूसरा चैनल है जो कि व्लॉग बनाते हैं हम उस पर, तो उसको भी ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिएगा और डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में आपको उसका लिंक मिल जाएगा। तो दोस्तों, और आंसर की तरफ बढ़ते हैं हम। Willie's suicide provides the unhappy ending so essential in classic tragedy. Its roots, however, lie deep in the past. It has been argued that Willie's nomadic childhood has left him feeling kind of temporary about himself, never having known a secure home. He is obsessed with providing offer for Lida and his son, and increasingly aware of his own falling as a husband and a father. A deep-seated need for affection and reassurance led him to seek the companionship of other women when he is away on business. He is also known to inflate his achievement in order to gain approval from Linda, his son and older brother and father substitute Ben. This in turn led to the self-deception that in his fatal fall. The stories he tells, the lies and half-truths become more reassuring to him than reality. Reality is so harsh and painful that he escapes into illusion. Unfortunately, his example promotes his son to do the same. Willie habits of exaggerating and inventing in addictive. Once he started, he soon finds that he cannot stop himself. When life becomes unbearable, Willie conjures Ben and memories of the golden times when his sons were young and innocent and full of promise. His distortion of the past helps him to survive the present and in the end provides the courage he needs to kill himself. If Death of a Salesman is to qualify as a tragedy, it needs to show how Willie's fatal fall impels him for happiness to misery and death. Miller's treatment of this theme has much in common with the Jacobean concept of the wheel of fortune. Stated simply, this concept dictates that happiness, like all other forms of human success, is fleeting, and in that happiness are the seeds of tragedy. When everything seems achieved, the hero is at the top of the wheel. However, a fall in his own characters means that the situation is doomed. The moment passes and a slide into misery and ultimately death is inevitable. The in Death of a Salesman, it is at the very moment when the Loman family seem most secure and united that the seeds of the tragedy are sown. Miller presents us an almost idyllic portrait of Willie, Lida, and their two sons. The proud father reveled in the popularity and athletic prowess of his adult son. The son worshipped his father. Their relationship could not be closer, but it is founded on illusion. Willie is neither the successful salesman nor the perfect husband he appeared to be. Biff, despite his supreme confidence that he is designed for university, has been so inflated by his father's estimate of him, so convinced by his father that personal attractiveness will carry him, though that he does not do enough work and flunks math, where Bernard can refer to his father. Charlie, as soon as a problem arises, Billy has to travel to Boston at his moment of crisis. His total faith in Willie's ability to fix things implies his disastrously to his father's hotel room and the realization that Willie is unfaithful to Lydia. Suddenly, in his boyish idealism, his father and all he stands for is fraudulent. From now on, the illusion is preserved only by brief silence. He turns his back on all Willie has taught him, but despite the hurt of betrayal, cannot stop loving him, and is torn between his instinctive need for the freedom of the open air and the dream of material success that has been drummed into him since birth. The tension drives him away but keeps him coming back to the family home. For Willie, this is the start of the decline that led to the realism at last that his dreams have let him down, that he is on the scrap heap or, in his own term, has not got a story left in his head. The slide from happiness to misery began in Boston and has immediately impact Willie order or ignore his pleas fall on deaf ear and Biff accusation hits home. You fake, you phony little fake, you fake. This statement haunts Willie. He sighs away from it, blames Biff life day after on anyone but himself, but it never leaves him. Their relationship is broken and Willie attempts in the only way he knows to make amends. He tries to cozily build into going to summer school and retaking math. When that fails, he pays for correspondence course for himself, selling the diamond tie pin Ben gave him as a present in order to finance one of them. It is all in vain. The accusation stands between them like an impenetrable wall, whereas before the visit to the Boston, they laugh and joke. Afterwards, they are continuously fighting. Willie keeps up the illusion with Linda and Hab, but it is the loss of Beef, apparently forever, that grants at him that is at the heart of his mercy. Reconciliation seems impossible. All that Willis hears is Beef voice is hated and inspired, and all that Beef can see in his father's face a twist of Mookie. I can't get near him. The misery is dependent by the fact that neither man can acknowledge the love he feels. By the time Beef opens up, it is too late. Willie is described as astonished, elevated by the fact that his son cries to him and is seen to be choking with his love in response. Yet this movement, instead of affecting a reconciliation, confirmed Willie decides to kill himself as the only way he can do something practical to show how much he loves his family. With supreme tragic irony, Beef tries to end the hostility as a way of preventing the very outcome his outburst precipitates. Will you take that phony dream and burn it before something happens? The catharsis achieved at this moment in the play enable Beef to walk away, finally from the first dream he has been following. As he says at Willie Faulkner, I know who I am, kid. This is something he could not say before then. It also happened Willie to race as he tells Ben that Will always loved him. Isn't that a remarkable thing? The moment comes after his realization that his life has amounted to very little. His question to Ben, does it take more guts to stand here the rest of my life ringing up a zero? Is the point at which finally he sees the reality behind all his lies and illusions. In a sense, we can see how empty Willy's future is, and although we are sad at his passing, we cannot help but breathe a sigh of relief that all his struggles are over. The tragic irony is that it is his last dream for Beef to see that. I know Ben, and he'll see it with his eyes once and for all. He'll see what I am. Ben is in for a shock. That boy, this last dream is to turn ducks like all the others. At the funeral, he had hoped we would be a vindication. Linda asked, but where are all the people he knew? Her lack of understanding highlights the difference between Willie and rest of the character in the play, where he is obsessed with what Miller calls his self-conceived role. The other are more moderate in their demands on themselves. Charlie advised him to forget about him, Beef. Bernard that sometimes it's better for a man just to walk away. Neither they nor member of his own family have the intensity that, in Miller's term, makes Willie a tragic hero. He is always isolated, or, as the woman in Boston described him, the saddest, self-centeredest soul I ever did see saw. Willie's obsession with his sense of himself mark him out as capable of tragedy in a way that is both fascinating and challenging to a modern audience. In an age of conformism, Miller inferred only the Willie Lomas of these words are worthy of the term hero. In Death of a Salesman, he has fulfilled all the criteria of classical form, but made of them a drama of human proportion with which an audience can readily identify. It is because Willie is like us, a common man, that the lessons of the tragedy are more difficult to ignore than if he were some remote figure from history or myth. We could leave the theater and bump into his equivalent in the street. In a sense, his story adds dignity to our lives and challenges us to either fight for self-realization or to walk away. And in Miller's term, well as a human being. So friends, we have already taken time of 20 minutes, so let's move to next part and the questions I give the answer in the next part of that video. So friends, in the part 2 you will able to see question number 2. So if you are new to our channel, please make to subscribe to our channel, and I also request you that please make to subscribe my another channel in the given link. Thank you.